Lorraine? Lorraine? I'm hearing this. I hear you loud. Listen, I hear you loud. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the Steve Andrews and Associate Masterclass. Steve Andrews and Associate promotion in how do you master the art of massage therapy. It's really discussion on where we at, what we are doing, how we can do it better. So it's a discussion on how do we really master what we do. I'm here because I keep saying every week I come on is really how do we help each other to develop what we do? How can we work together to really develop what we do? An art as beautiful as massage, we need to do so much more to really harness and maintain and treasure this art. 25 years, this last month was 25 years for me as a certified therapist, and it allowed me to really see lots of really wonderful things happen in what we do. I see people on their sick bed get up and live for many more days, many more years, sorry. I saw people on walkers throw the walkers one side and start walking again. I saw people as in chronic pain allowed to live a better life, a more fruitful life. So I saw lots of things that happen, and just me. Imagine it, just myself. Imagine if we could pool our experience together. Imagine what we can really bring forward, and how we can really collaborate and really harness what we are doing. This sessions we finish at the end of this month, which is another 2 weeks, 2 sessions we had to go before we start the new year. And I promise you the new year will be more exciting. We will try to incorporate some live classes, live chats, live discussions. And hopefully that more of us will join together to be a part of this concept. Remember, it's SteveAndrewsAssociate.com. You can go to our website. Also, you can go to our YouTube channel, Steve Andrews Associate, an Associate. This is the one with the an Associate. Or if you look for Steve Andrews, you will find me. Like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, like us wherever. Remember, I'm not here for the likes, really. I just want us to come together, that we can really harness what we are doing and how we can do it a whole lot better. Steve Andrews is I have spent a lot of time really thinking, and week after week, I always wondering. I said to myself, why I'm doing this? What is the benefit to me doing this? And I keep saying is that it's not why I'm doing this. It's just that I have to do this, because if it's not done, then I'm just as bad as the persons out there that is doing whatever they want to do with the industry. So if they have, everyone is doing what they think is right, and you can do anything to have an impact on that, you should try to do that. Life is we are going through a very, really tough period. I mean, mentally, by speaking to people on a day-to-day basis is difficult. It's a really difficult period, and everybody have their own challenges. Myself, I have my own challenges as well. But to me, is I keep saying to person, the best time in your life is when you're in your valley. Your valley is your learning process. Your valley is when you know your friends, when you know your enemies, or when you know just people that just around just to being around. The valley is the most beautiful place you can be. And if you can really harness that time in the valley, clarify, you get to really clear the mind, clarify the mind, and find really good ways of how do we go forward, how do we move forward. When you start climbing out of that valley, you have a clear picture what the top of the mountain will look like. Then you can be in a beautiful place. So let's learn why we are in our valley. Let's really focus why we are in our valley. And let's find creative ways that when we start climbing up the mountain, that we can make sure that the mountain, the sustainability on top of the mountain is a whole lot longer and a more concrete word I'm looking for, that we can really enjoy those moments on top of the mountain. So we will know our friends from our enemies who are there for us, for what the mountain look like, to the view of the mountain top, or who are just there to help us to make sure that the view, sustain the view on top of that mountain top. So this is my little message to you today. How do you move forward? But I'm not here to lecture to you. I'm here to really feed you with food, information that I think that might have a great impact on you or your business. I had two questions, and I was supposed to address those two questions. One is, how do we deal with the challenges within our businesses? How do we deal with the challenges in our businesses? And I'm saying to us, how do we, where we at and what we are doing? As therapists, we have to have a clear picture where we at and where we want to go. You just can't just decide that every little thing that come around, every fad, every idea, every concept, we jump at it. We must focus and have a clear idea where we want to be, who we want to be, who are the people we really want to attract into our environment and into our space. I started some 25 years ago, and when I started, I like to give this story. I was locally trained. We had a group of therapists that was international trained, and we had these battles about who are better than who. I spent the last 25 years trying to prove to all of them, or prove to those therapists, I'm just as good or better than each one of them. And it was not a bad thing, guys. It really was not a bad thing, because what that have done for me is really forced me to be the best that I can be. And when you become confident enough in what you're doing, you realize that not just you being confident, but confidence meaning the knowledge that you harness in terms of therapy, you will see that you're becoming a whole lot better. Your delivery of your techniques, your delivery of your massage becomes a whole lot better than when you're still feeling around. I will get to the question. If we can find the right tools, to really help us to develop what we are doing, you will find that you actually moving away from that crowded place and you really finding your way. Challenge, you will have challenge in everything that you do. Is how do you deal with those challenges? And do you know what the challenge are? And if you don't know the challenge, then you really cannot find the solution. So we have to focus on what is the challenge. What is really our challenge? And I know the question was a really open question because I didn't know if the person meant challenge in business, day-to-day business, or if they mean challenge as a therapist, or if you mean challenge of trying to find your way. So the challenge can be very different. My challenge as a therapist, 25 years ago, I was a male, and we were operating in an industry that 80% of that industry, or the person that was requesting massage in that time, was requesting female. And as a male, I really had to sit on the fringe all the time. The only time someone might bend and say, can I have a male, or okay, I will take you, is when they cannot find a female. And that was the error that they make all the time, because anytime I have an opportunity to showcase my ability, I do awesome. I do my best to make sure that the question must never be in that person's mind again. If I'm looking for a therapist, Steve will never be a second thought. Steve must be in that forefront. As long as you have the opportunity to work with someone, that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you are the person in there. You become the standard when it comes to therapy, when you have the opportunity. And that's how I have built my business in a small island, 300,000 person. And I have 20% of the market. I have to make sure that every single person I touch, not just it will have a serious impact on not their mind but their heart, but also they will tell 10 other persons. And I built my business based on word of mouth. In the tourism industry, because we have a pretty huge tourism market in the Caribbean. In the tourism industry, as long as I have the opportunity to work on someone, they will tell 10 persons in that hotel, I might get 5 persons to work on. As long as I touch someone, I will have 1, 2, or 3 opportunity to work with them. And if there's a repeat visitors, every time they come back to this country, they come and find me. That's how I have built. That's how I have overcome the challenge of being in an industry that is more catered to a female therapist than a male therapist. So that's one of the challenges that I had to overcome. The second challenge is being a male in an industry that 70% of the clients is female. And you're having lots of female come to you and they want to be comfortable. How do you make sure that that client is comfortable enough? I always say when someone come to us, they're not just coming to us and they're basically stripping themselves, not just physically but emotionally. Someone walking out the street and meeting you for the first time, you spend 5 more 7 minutes chat talking to them about who they are, why they're here, what they would like you to do for them, and then they actually have to strip down. Not just a physical strip, but a mental strip. They're exposing themselves totally to you. How do you make them comfortable enough that when you give that massage, it's an awesome experience because they're relaxed, they trust you enough. As a male therapist, that was a challenge for me as well. And I think one of the things I had to do is really sell, I keep telling, where I had to put my personal life on one side for a very long time and focus on what you do. Because I always say to people, everyone that I meet on a day-to-day basis, one, either they're a client or they're a potential client. So how do I interact? What do I say? How do I say it? How do I carry myself? What are the conversations? Who are my friends? How do I socialize? How do I go down? In Barbados we call it crop over, and who I walk up on. Walk up is a Barbadian thing, meaning gyration of your waist or dancing. So all of these things that you have to be able to think about when you're doing it, because what you're trying to do is build confidence within each and every person that come into contact with you, because when they are making a decision, the decision will be start from what they think they know about you to your ability to provide the service that you want to provide. So now you have to start thinking, how do we actually start building that? Is building the confidence in our clients without before they know that they will become our client. If you go down the road and you misbehave all the time, you do all of the things that in certain people's eyes is not good, and someone said, oh, I know this fantastic therapist, he lives there, his name, oh, you know him, oh yeah, that guy, oh no man, he's gone. So that's a part of the brand awareness that you need to look at when you're thinking about therapy. That becomes a challenge, because if you, and I keep saying that to therapists, yes, we are human beings and we have to live. Expression of oneself is how you dress, what you do, how you wear, all of that is a part of the expression of oneself. But if you're in an industry like this, and we know the taboo around the industry, you cannot be walking down or coming into a massage space with a skirt, or as a male, muscles, dressed in a way where you're suggesting something. Therapy must look like therapists. Therapists must act like therapists. That's how we build. That's how we overcome some of the challenge. And I keep hearing people say, oh, men come into place and men do that, or women come into place and women do that. It's your projection. I'm not saying every therapist projection, but I see lots of us, our projection is very important, and we have to pay attention to our projection. How do we dress? How do we communicate it? Someone come in your room and then they start having conversations, and the conversations start going down the road. You have to be strong enough to pull it back, because people in the Caribbean, they say you throw a sprat to catch a whale, meaning you're testing the waters to see what it's like. So conversations start running away, you have to manage your room, you have to manage your spa in terms of the communication aspect in your spa. What are the conversations that you're having? What if your touch is becoming, if you realize that your touch is creating things that you don't want to create, you have to manage that touch. You have to realize, okay, get out of that area, because all of us we are humans, and I keep saying to people, touch is one of the most powerful things that you can think about. And when you touch certain places, you will get reaction. And some of us don't know where we will get reaction from. Sometimes the client themselves do not realize that they are so sensitive in those areas. But when you find it, that's why touch. I think that you have to do the class, master your art. Is a whole element looking at the relationship or I'm trying to find the word, the relationship or the elements, the elements of therapy. When you could understand and you unplug and understand the elements of therapy, then you will understand what I'm trying to say to you. So we have to pay attention to all of these things, that when we are touching, we have to know when to pull back and when to, because I mean, touch is powerful. Touch is the most powerful tool. And as I said it before, when the Father, when He created us on earth, if you believe in the story, every time He was going to heal, He touched. Up to when the lady that was crippled and she wants to be healed, all she was thinking, if I could only touch His garment. So if we really understand the powers of touch, when we are touching, we pay attention to what is the energy that we give off in our touch. What are we triggering people in someone's body when we are touching? So all of these things we have to manage. So as therapists, we have to have a great idea in what we are doing. And when we have a great idea in what we are doing, then the challenge becomes less, because now we can manage our challenge. That's another class we can do in how do we manage our challenges as therapists. How do we manage our challenge as a male therapist or a female therapist? How do we manage it? And therapy is hard. It's a very hard job. It's a beautiful job, but it's a hard job, because we meet people with all different kinds of emotion. We meet a lot of people that never been really touched before, and when we touch person with emotional connection and comfort and all of these things, it can trigger things in their body, and by triggering, sometimes they act out of character, if you want to call that. So you have to learn to manage it. How do you manage the out of character action? And as a male, I can say it, and it's happening more now than ever, you get challenged, and it's managing your challenge. Managing your how do you do that? When I used to be in the industry, in the hotel industry, and you get all different challenge, and I always say to the person, what used to be my favorite word. They say, oh, this is the most beautiful massage in the world. Can you? And I always say to them, but if it's the most beautiful massage in the world and I do this, then you're not going to remember the most beautiful massage in the world. You're going to remember this. So, and that is just blow everything out of proportion, because now that person, now it debunks where the person wants to go with whatever conversation they want, because I now debunked it, because I want you to remember the most beautiful massage in the world and not whatever else that you are thinking of. And these are little ways of managing. Or one of the things I used to always say to them, when we get challenges, I say, oh, you're drunk. Because to me, having a great massage, because of all the emotions that is happening in your body, you get to a state where you are not consciously really focusing on what is happening. So I always say you're drunk. So when you get sober, you can come back and see me, and then we can have another conversation. And these are managing people acting out of character. So we have to learn how to manage when people act out of character, and these are basic things. And if someone act out of character, you're not gonna blow the room unless they are persistent with their out of character action. If they are persistent in their out of character action, then you become you now need to manage that. And to me, that's where I will get very strong in my conversation and in my voice and in my direction, that you will know I am very serious and I'm strong in where. But you will get people, whether male or female, acting out of character. Is how do you manage them acting out of character? And these are simple things. Don't get on your high horse and say, well, you should not behave like that, because the power of touch, and you have to understand the power of touch, and what are the things that you you can trigger in people's body, what are the things you can trigger in people's mind, what are the reaction people can have. And because of those things, you have to pay attention. Managing, managing, managing your environment, managing your action, managing. So it's about thinking about how do we do this thing, and we can have discussion on how do you really managing out of character action, and how can we debunk it without it going where it don't need to go. You might lose a client, but sometimes, and I guarantee you, sometimes those clients might say they come back the next time, I apologize 100 times. That was not me. Sometimes they don't want to come back because they feel guilty because they were acting out of character. I'm not saying that there are not people that comes and that's in their head, but sometimes you will find people that act out of character. And because they act out of character, how do you manage it? You can manage what is happening, and you can manage a client, and you can continue have a great client for many years because they're not accustomed to what was happening to their body and what was going on at that moment. So it's how do you manage? And these are things that we can really discuss, and we can I mean, I have so many different examples of things happen and how I have to manage it. Sometimes I walk into a room and see things that I always do is like, sometimes your first reaction is just turn around. But then you said, okay, I'm a professional, let's manage this thing. As long as that whatever you're doing don't come and you don't want to make me a part of what you're doing, that's fine. I'm a professional, I'm here to do a job, I do my job, I move on. That's all I'm about. So this is how we manage what we do. And we have to understand this when we come into this industry. It's a touching industry, touching, emotional, all of these things, and it's something that will happen. And I go back to how do we manage it, and by understanding the management, how do we deal with the challenge, how do we manage these challenges, then we can work through lots of these things that we are talking about. So yes, and these are what I really want to explore with people, explore with people. How do we have real discussion, really discussing these things? Because we can say whatever we want to say. There's a place for everyone, and there's a place for everything, and that's one good thing about life. There's a place for everyone, and there's a place for everything. And if you understand that there's a place for everyone and everything, then you will be able to have a better idea and a better management of what you do. So I always say to people, I don't get angry at anyone that make a choice. You make a choice in what you want to do, where you want to go, how you want to do. But with every choice we make have consequence. And we have to be able to deal with those consequences. So when we make choices, we have to be able to make sure that these choices will have consequence. Are you willing to deal with these consequences? If you're not willing to deal with these consequences, then you have to think about the choices that you make. Meaning that there are rules that we will set. This is also managing the challenges. And when we set rules within our organization, we have to understand that we have to live by these rules. These rules are very essential to the survival of our organization. Whether it's a one person shop or a resort spa, we have to manage these. We have to decide this is a rule that we want to go with, or we want to go free for all. And these are important stuff that we have to think about. And you know, I think I'm blessed. I have worked with lots of different personnel, different types, way that people think. I've worked with many persons. I was blessed to be in a tourism dependent environment, so I understand the tourists, different personality, how to work with them. And I also was blessed because I have a strong local clientele, so I get to deal with persons from a day to day, the impact of cultural differences. Also, I was blessed to be able to analyze and think things through. How do we make or what how will we make what we doing so much better? And we spend a lot of time trying to find solutions to what we are doing. And this is why I'm here. I want to find solution with all of us. How do we come together and really start having solution, whether online? This is a forum that all of us can come together and have several conversations on how do we develop, how do we become better at what we do. You One day I will sit down and I never give you a story where I come from. And I have lived a comfortable life. It's challenging, yes. Lots of challenging, lots of things that affects you, but I have the opportunity to lead the regional association. I get the opportunity to travel the world. I get the opportunity to see, as I said, behind the scenes, what the average person don't get to see. I get to see my dream spas. I get to have massage in my dream spas. So I've done a lot. And now it's time to give back. And this is why I'm here. So it's how do we, and if I only have impact on one person, that's fine. Because to me, if I can share the little knowledge with one person, then I'm reaching someone. But I want us to really start coming together and really have this conversation. And as I said, we have 3 more classes for the year, 3 more discussion live for the year before we take a break. And then we start in the new year, and the new year will be live classes as a part of our community, Steve Andrews and Associate community. And we are working with Africa, with the Africa Spa and Wellness Association. We are working with Thai, with the Asia Pacific Spa Wellness Association, and hopefully trying to get into Europe and have discussion on how we can work together to really develop this concept. And this concept is really about moving people, moving therapists. And I think I have a little bit to offer. So let's come together. Let's have conversations. And we can talk to each other via live, or we will do conferences. I decided not to do any traveling until the first quarter of next year, the end of the first quarter of next year. I have one international training to do so far, and after that I will start planning my schedule. I have a clientele in Barbados to deal with, so I cannot just go. I cannot give up my clientele, just walk away and leave them like that. So I have to serve my clientele. But let's start reaching out. Let's think about what can I do for you, or what can we do together, how we can start setting plans for the future. And going forward, we can have discussion on how we can do it together and really move therapy forward. I think I have something to offer, and I really would like to offer it to you. And it's not about being a millionaire. It's not about flying on private jets. It's not about all of these things. It's because I want to make sure that an industry that was so good to me continue after me. Because we are just here for a short time. We have to pass the knowledge on. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I want to do that knowledge. I can help lots of people. I see so many people out there are struggling, are really searching for knowledge. I can offer you some of the knowledge I have. And we can work together to develop together. Each one of you are a flower. Each one of us is that flower. We bloom. I want to allow you to blossom into your own flower, your own beautiful, unique you. I don't want you to be me. Never want you to be Steve Andrews. I want you to be the best that you can be and find your way. I'm just going to point you to the tools and help you with some of the tools that will help you to develop and help you to grow. And I think if we can come, when we come, not if we come, when we come together, when we meet, we can start doing wonderful things. And what I see in my short years, because of knowledge, I didn't have the knowledge, so I missed lots of it. But if it can feed you with the knowledge I have, you will see the kind of miracles we can really. And I said it's not you, it's what the energies around you can create. It's just tapping into it. You can do well. We can save this world. We can have a better impact on wellness in our universe. Let's come together. Let's work together. And do what we can do to make this world a better place. We are wellness providers. We are wellness providers, meaning we want the body, the mind, and the soul to be well. We can do better. We can live better. We can live healthier. Let's come together. Some way, somehow, sometime. Join the community. Steve Andrews and Associate. YouTube. Facebook. Instagram. I just need to send me an email. Anything. And let's have conversation. And let's come together. Until next week. Have a wonderful week. And stay safe. Stay best. And continue to be a beautiful therapist. Whatever you do, just enjoy it. Thank you.